Hello everyone, my name is Hervé Fossou, a student at the CUNY School of Public Health and Health Policy in New York. Today, I will present on childhood lead poisoning data in New York City. We will learn at the end of this presentation, participants will be able to define lead poisoning, to know two sources of lead poisoning in children, to learn the trend of lead poisoning in the United States from 1997 to 2015, to learn the trend of lead poisoning in New York State among children, as well as the trend of lead poisoning in New York City and the prevalence of lead poisoning in New York City boroughs. Let's start with the first table of our presentation, will give us an overview on lead. What is lead? Lead is a poison, often found in old paint. Peeling lead paint is the most common cause of lead poisoning in New York City. Lead can be found in many sources, such as toys, herbal medicine, clay pots and dishes, cosmetic, as well as food and spices. The most affected group by lead are children and pregnant women. Children may suffer for learning and behavior problems when they are exposed to lead, as well as a delay in physical growth and mental development. Let us talk about this first graph. The first graph on your screen shows the US blood surveillance among 72 years old in America. The red line here shows the trends of children with a blood lead level greater or equal 10 microgram per deciliter, which represent the minimum level to be diagnosed with lead poisoning. The blue line represents the number of children who get tested over this period. From 1997 to 2015, the rate of children confirmed with a blood level greater or equal 10 microgram per deciliter has decreased over the years, meaning that the prevalence of lead poisoning decreased over the years. The number of children tested has increased from 1997 to 2009, and the same number has decreased from 2009 to 2015, meaning that the strategy used to address the lead issue at this time, during this time period, was really effective, because we see that the prevalence of lead have decreased over the years. Let's talk about New York State. This graph shows the trend of lead poisoning in New York State among children 72 months ago old, and we see that this orange line is the number of children diagnosed with a blood level greater than 10 greater or equal than 10 microgram per deciliter, and the blue line the number of children who get tested. We see that from 2003 to 2013, the number of children who was confirmed with a blood level greater than 10 microgram per deciliter have decreased over those years. But what we have here in 2013, there is no child with a blood level greater than 10 microgram per deciliter, because there is a missing data. In 2014, we see the same trend, that the number of children diagnosed with a blood lead level greater or equal 10 microgram per deciliter decreased from 2014 to 2015, meaning that the strategy used to address lead issue in New York State was also effective, because we see that the prevalence of lead in New York State decreased over the years. But it's good to remember to know that this data doesn't take in account New York City. The trends in New York City is the whole New York State except New York City. Let's go to New York City to see what's going on there. This graph shows the improvement of lead poisoning from 1997 to 2015 among 72 months old children in New York City. The orange line here shows the number or the rate of children confirmed with a blood level greater or equal 10 microgram per deciliter. We see that the prevalence of lead decreased from 1997 to 2015 in New York City, meaning that there is an improvement in addressing the lead issue in New York City. The strategy used to address lead issue was effective. So let's see what's going on in New York City. What's happening in 2014? This table shows the distribution of lead in each borough in New York City in 2015 among children under 6 years old. Let us focus on the last column here. We see that Brooklyn comes first with 3.8 microgram per deciliter. That meaning that Brooklyn is the most affected borough in 2014, was the most affected borough in 2014, followed by Queens, and after Queens we have the Bronx, and after the Bronx we have Staten Island and Manhattan. Today, Brooklyn still have the highest rate of lead poisoning in New York City. Okay, let us summarize. During this presentation, we define lead poisoning, and we realize that lead poisoning is a public health issue. The blood lead level greater than 10 microgram per deciliter at least needs to be diagnosed someone with lead. The trends of lead poisoning have decreased from 1997 to 2015, and the data shows a decrease among children affected by lead in New York State, New York City, and in the whole United States. Okay, these are the reference page, and all information in this presentation was currently in this website. You can go on different websites to find the information and the data we use for this presentation. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.